Now let's see how to launch the application on virtual device, that is emulator, and also real device. Okay, prerequisite for this is you must set up the Appium for Android app automation. If not set up previously, please watch my lectures on Appium setup for Windows. Okay, you must have to set up Appium on your system before this lecture. Okay, now let's start writing the code. First I will explain from where we need to start mobile app automation. So just create class. So class name is invoke app. Now firstly we need to talk to the Appium server, and then Appium server invokes the virtual device or physical device which is connected to the system. So for that you need to pass the information from client to the server. So then Appium server interprets that information and invokes the application on emulator or physical device. So there are few capabilities required to launch the application on emulator or physical device. So general information or capabilities are required to launch the application are, so first one, we need to connect to the emulator, right? So emulator or physical device. So for that we need device name. So device name. So device name capability is required. So second one, app is required to automate, right? So we should open the app and then start automating the app on emulator or device. So we need to pass the app information to invoke the app in that emulator. So app capability is required. So second capability is app. So we need app information, right? So third one, as per latest releases, we need to pass which automation framework to use for automation. So automation name capability is required as part of latest releases. So in older versions, we don't need to pass this information like automation name information because the default framework is Appium in older versions. Now Appium guys have introduced a new automation framework named with the UI Automator 2 as part of latest releases. So third capability is automation name. So these are the three capabilities required to launch the application on emulator or physical device. Now let's see how to set these capabilities information. So for that just create one test method. So import testng method. So now there is a class called desired capabilities which actually takes the information in JSON format and sends the same information to the server. So for that we need to create an object for desired capabilities class. Desired capabilities class, some reference variable capabilities equal to new desired capabilities. Now we need to import the desired capabilities class. So import desired capabilities. This class is available at org openqa selenium.remote. This is the reason we have added a Selenium related dependency in pom.xml file because this desired capabilities class is present at Selenium packages. Okay. Next we need to set the capabilities, right? So by using capabilities reference, capabilities dot set capability. So capability name. So mobile capability type dot First one, device name. So this is the we need to pass the device name. So here, what is the device name? So the device name is nothing but emulator name here. So what is the emulator name? Nexus 6. So you can see here, Nexus underscore 6 underscore API underscore 26. So you can use this name, or you can check whether the emulator is connected to the system or not using command prompt. So open command prompt and type the command adb devices. So this is the list of devices attached to system, or so emulator -4. So you can use this name as well as device name. Okay. So device name. So you can give emulator -554, or you can give Nexus underscore 6 underscore API underscore 26. So you can give any name. Second capability, set capability, mobile capability type dot automation name, right? So the order can be anything. Automation name, UI automator 2. So we must specify this UI automator 2 as automation name. And then third capability, app. So mobile capability type dot app. So here we need to pass the path of APK file. So here we need to pass the path of APK file, that is app file. We are going to use API demos app. So actually this app was officially developed and released by Appium developers because it has a lot of UI functions, and also it contains all the native gestures or events which can be available in any mobile applications. So you can handle all those controls or mobile gestures in this app, such as click, send keys, tap, long press, multi-touch, scroll, swipe, and drag and drop. So there are many gestures. So in this app you can automate all those gestures. So that's why this is the best app for practice purpose. So because this app supports all of those gestures. If you practice on this app, you can automate any Android native apps. So I will explain more examples to handle all those controls or gestures. Don't worry. In coming lectures, I will explain all those gestures. So here we need to pass the path of APK file. But as per coding standards, we should not hard code that path directly. So it would be better to use file class to pass the APK file path. So for that, so place the APK file in project root directory. So this is the project root directory, and that automation is the project root directory. So place the APK file in that directory. API demos-debug.apk is the app file which we are going to automate. So place this file in project root folder. Now by using file class, we can pass the path of that APK file. Now let's see. For that, so file, some app, new file. Here system.get property of user directory, user.dir. So basically system.get property of user.dir returns root path of project. So this path, project root path, plus concatenate the file name, plus This is a file name, right? API demos -debug .apk. Now import the file class, import file from java.io. Now we need to pass the absolute path. So app.get absolute path. That's it. So we need to pass the app path in this way. So instead of hard coding the path directly from here, because if the project is copied to the another system, or if you hard code the path like C users, your username, something, and if you copy this project into another team member's machine, then it won't work, because the path may not be the same, right, in other systems. So they will not have same folders. So that is the reason we are using file class to overcome that situation. Now if you copy, so after passing the path like this, app.get absolute path, if you copy this project to any other machines, so it will work properly, because it returns current root path wherever it is. So simply it returns the root path of this project. Okay. Now we have capabilities ready. Now we need to pass this capabilities information to the server. So now how do we pass the capabilities information to the server? Let's invoke the application by passing capabilities information to the server. So for that, Appium developers implemented a class called Android driver. To launch the application on emulator or physical device. So you can use iOS driver for iOS mobile app automation. So this Android driver class contains all methods that can be used to automate Android apps. So in order to launch the application, we need to create an object for Android driver class. So and pass the two parameters into it. So now let's see how to create an object for Android driver class. So Android driver of Android element. So we need to pass the Android element as parameter, and some reference variable is driver, new Android driver. First import Android driver class, import Android driver from io.appium.java client.android package, and then import Android element class, import Android element, and then here we need to pass two parameters. So here we need to pass two parameters. First one is connection to the server, and second parameter is capabilities information. So all the capabilities information are available at capabilities object. So this capabilities object reference holds all the capabilities information. So we need to pass this capabilities reference as second parameter. Now first parameter is connection string. So here the connection to the Appium server is new URL of HTTP 127.0.0.1. So this is the local IP address, and the default port number of Appium is 4723, and then WD WebDriver hub. So this is the connection string to the server. So here we need to import URL class. That's it. Now we need to import add throws declaration. So we need to handle that exception, add throws declaration. That's it. Now let's execute the test scripts and see whether the app is launched or not. But before executing the script, let's see, there are two prerequisites. So let's see how it works internally first. First, client will be connected to the Appium server and launches the app in the emulator. So thereafter, code whatever you write will be executed. So this is how it works internally. Okay, but before executing the script, there are two prerequisites to launch the application. You need to make sure that Appium server is started. So first one is you need to make sure that Appium server is started, and also emulator should be opened in which you are going to automate the application. So first one is we need to start the Appium server. So there are two ways to start the Appium server, right? So first one is open command prompt and type Appium and then hit enter. So you will need to wait until Appium server is started here. So Appium server is started now. Welcome to Appium version 1.17.1. So this is the latest version. If you see this message, Appium server is started successfully. And the second approach to start Appium server is open Appium desktop app. So this is the Appium desktop app. You can simply click on start server version 1.17.1. Click on this start server 1.17.1 to start the server. So as we have already started the server from command prompt, so again no need to start the Appium server from desktop app. And the second prerequisite is to open the emulator, right? So we need to open the emulator. So now prerequisites are satisfied, right? We have started the Appium server and also opened the emulator. So two prerequisites are satisfied. Now let's execute the test scripts and see whether the app is opened on your emulator or not. Right click on class file, run as testng test. See, open the command prompt and then emulator. So you can see the log here in command prompt. What exactly happening in the background. Now app will get installed on your emulator based on your APK file. Yeah, see, you can see here the app got successfully invoked. So you can see here 200. So got response with the status code 200 means success. Okay, so we have successfully invoked the application. Here if you execute the script with these three capabilities information, Appium server always uninstall the app and then reinstall the same app again. So first initially Appium server will check whether the app is installed in your mobile or not. If it is installed, then it will Appium server uninstall that app and then reinstall the same app. So default there are two desired capabilities required to handle that situation. So first one is no reset capability. So the default value of no reset capability is false. So that means it clears the app data, that is cache, and full reset capability. So it Appium server uninstall the app by default. So full reset is generally used when you have a newer version of app. So with the full reset capability, you can uninstall app and then automatically install the new version. So here default value is true. So always when you execute the script, Appium server will uninstall the app and then reinstall the app based on specified APK. So if the app is already installed, if you don't want to uninstall and reinstall the app again, you can set these capabilities information. So first one, no reset capability, uh, no reset, you can pass the value as true. True. And then second capability, full reset. Full reset, false. Now Appium server will check whether the app is installed in your emulator or device. If the app is already installed in your mobile or emulator, so it won't uninstall that app. It simply opens that application in your mobile or emulator. Okay, and now let's run the same script again. Before executing the script, we need to close the existing connection, right? So Control C to close the connection, and then type Y, hit enter. Now previous connection got successfully closed. Now we need to create new session, Appium, hit enter. Now Appium server got successfully launched. So now we need to start the execute the script, run as test-ng test. See, this time Appium server will not uninstall the existing app. It simply opens the app. If the app is already installed on your emulator, so if the app was not installed previously, it will install the app. See, you can see here the app got successfully invoked. Let's see how to invoke the app on a real device. For that, first you need to enable developer options and USB debugging in your physical device before connecting the device to your system. So by default, USB debugging mode is disabled to avoid unintentional modifications on your device. But you would need to enable debugging option manually for your testing purpose. So to enable developer options, open your mobile and then go to settings and scroll down to about phone, tap on it, and then tap on build number for 7 times. So then a developer option will be enabled in your mobile. So as I already enabled developer option, this operation is not required as you are already in developer mode. So before enabling that one, you need to tap on build number 7 times. So then developer options will be enabled. Now go back and then click on additional settings, and then you can see here developer options. So tap on developer options. Now enable USB debugging. By default it will be unchecked, so you need to enable this USB debugging, and then you will prompt some pop-up. So click on OK in the pop-up message. You can see that USB debugging has been enabled. So this is the setting which you need to set before running the test scripts in a real device. So this is the configuration required in order to run the scripts in a real device. Now once you enable the developer options and USB debugging, let's see whether the device is connected to the system properly or not. So for that, open command prompt and type the command adb devices. See, you can see here a list of devices attached. So this is the device ID, so real device ID. So which we are going to use this ID to launch the application on this real device. Now copy this device ID paste it here. So now, so you can copy this capability information and comment it. Now in place of emulator -5554, you can replace the device ID, real device ID, with this emulator name. That's it. So this is only the change required to open the application on a real device. So you simply need to pass the device ID in place of emulator name. Okay. Now let's run the same script and see whether the app is opened in your real device or not. So before executing the script, we need to start the Appium server, right? So to start the Appium server, simply type Appium and then hit enter. So after starting the Appium server, we can run the script. Yeah, Appium server is started successfully. Now we can run the script. Right click on invoke app class, run as testng, and you can see here application will be launched on a real device. Yeah. Initially it will take some time to open the application. So second time onwards it will open very quickly. So you can also see the logs here. Yeah, it is checking UA automated to framework. Yeah, see, the app got successfully invoked on real device. Okay, so this is how you can launch the application on emulator and also real device. Okay, thank you.